All right, everyone, thank you so much for coming to one of the TTC Success Workshop Series. My name is Adriana. I'm one of the academic success coaches. And Maggie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Maggie. I'm also one of the academic success coaches at the TTC.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking a lot today based off the presentation on building your shark family. And what that basically means is just finding ways to connect with peers and your colleagues on campus, faculty members and professors as well as staff. So I'm going to share my screen. And before we begin, I just wanted to discuss a little bit about what academic success coaching is before we go into the presentation, particularly the tips and tricks, as well as some challenges that you may encounter as well when it comes to creating connections with students, your peers, faculty members, as well as staff. And we'll also discuss our contact information, additional events that are coming up, as well as how to find us on Instagram, YouTube, etc. So academic success coaching, we meet one-on-one with students for about 50 to 60 minutes in which we cover one or more of the following 8 facets of college life. So that can be things such as how to become more organized, how to set goals, or even creating ways to balance your school life or personal life. And typically, even though we talk a lot about these different facets with some of the people that come in, we also provide with additional life skills as well that will help you adjust to college, because I know there are some students who are first generation students and this is their first time being away from home. So it can be really difficult. So because there's 7 of us in the academic success coaching program that range from undergraduate to graduate, we want to be as helpful as possible and ensure that we tailor those sessions based off your needs as well as your academic and professional goals. Maggie, am I missing anything with that? Okay. I'm going to briefly talk about how to make an appointment with us because we're located in the tutoring and testing center. So essentially what you end up doing is that you go on Sharklink, then you find the Navigate app, and then what you do next is once you get to the next page, you want to schedule an appointment. And we're going to talk a little bit about that towards the end of the presentation. So what the whole overview for the presentation for today is helping you find ways to connect and build your shark family. So when we say this is finding people in your classroom or peers on campus that are going to help you advance your personal goals and professional goals, while also connecting with professors, your supervisors, as well as advisors that are going to be helping you throughout your undergraduate career. So when I'm thinking about creating connections, or when I'm saying creating connections, we know that adjusting in college life is very difficult, right? We have to maintain all these different responsibilities, whether it's academic responsibilities, life responsibilities, and even some people who have a part-time job, it can be really difficult to manage. So what's really important, especially as you're going through different semesters, even through the school year, is this idea of networking. And by definition, networking is this idea of interacting with others to exchange information, as well as developing professional and social contacts. And what's beneficial when it comes to networking is you're creating a sense of community, right? Because you're connecting with people that you know are going to help you advance in your professional and personal career, as well as building connections and also promoting your academic growth. And one thing that's also helpful when it comes to networking is that you're able to get the career advice and support, increase access to job opportunities, and also building your confidence. So it's important that as you start, even as a freshman or sophomore undergraduate, to start constantly connecting and networking with people as you're going through your academic and professional journey. How do you, when we talk about networking, Maggie, what are your thoughts about networking, and have you noticed anything that was challenging about it or beneficial?
Something that I've found very beneficial about networking is like really networking with like the people, like professors as like of your major, or like people around you that can really like help you in the future, because you never know like if you're gonna need a recommendation or something like that. And if you make this connection with these professors, especially for the ones for your major, like they can really help you getting a job, or even just like with advice about if you don't know what to do in your job.
Yeah, and Maggie's absolutely right, especially when it comes to a professor who have like the exact same like interests as you and things like that. Even like advisors, they can connect you with people that are going to help you advance your career goals as well. And it's always important to keep that in mind too, as we take different classes or if we interact with different people throughout like our undergraduate career, we want to ask ourselves, well, how is this person going to help me achieve my goals? And when we think about creating connections, I like to think of it as a tree, right? So we have different layers and different branches in the tree. And what's important is that we want to identify our social network. So within the social network, there are bonds, bridges, and linkages. So when we think about bonds, that's essentially like your friends and family members, people that share the exact same interests as you, the exact same values as you, and things like that. But as we ascend further along, we think about bridges. So it can be our classmates, colleagues, associates. So people that we constantly have interactions with, who may be in the exact same major as you and things like that, but they're still completely different. But one thing that's beneficial about that is that you can still learn from those people and actually help in order to ace that class or things along that line. And as we ascend further out into bridges, one really difficult one that I've noticed a lot of students struggle with at times is the linkages, right? So your professors, your advisors, because sometimes it can be really intimidating to ask for help, especially from your professors, if you're really having difficulties with a class or things like that, or even with your advisors. But they can also provide you with a whole wealth of different information that you can utilize in order to access resources that are going to be helpful for you, or also those additional job opportunities and research opportunities that Maggie was referring to. So when it comes to networking, there's three different types of ways to network. So as Maggie alluded to, you can network with your faculty members and professors, staff, which is supervisor, people that you work with, advisors in general, as well as your peers and classmates. But sometimes how do I do this, especially with all these different things that I have to kind of tend to academically, and also the responsibilities I have to do on a daily basis. So Maggie and I are here to help you develop some tips and tricks, especially when it comes to connecting with all these three different types of people. So when it comes to connecting with peers, there's various different ways of doing that. So one huge one that I've always noticed that was helpful was attending like interest meetings or general body meetings for NSU like student-led organizations. And there's so many different organizations on campus that have different interests and different things that could be helpful for you. So always navigating towards those organizations that are based off of similar interests that you may have and things that kind of relate to your major are very helpful. And I always recommend that if you do want to learn more about an organization or to get more involved, always reach out to that president or the vice president in that e-board, on that e-board from organization. Am I missing anything, Maggie, with that?
Something that I would just like to add to this is it's good to like, even with peers, just like kind of get your face out there and show up and like participate, and you want to make like a good impression. So like obviously you don't want to go to a social event and like not be participating or just like kind of be off in the corner. It's just a really good thing to really like want to include yourself and get your face out there, because eventually like people will recognize who you are.
No, and that's a good point too. So always showing a good face and getting out of your comfort bubble, because I know sometimes it can be intimidating as well. If this is your first time meeting someone and you want to make sure that you make a good impression, because when you do that, then people are more likely to help you, right? And they're more likely to connect you with those resources that are going to be helpful for you. But not only that, it's also important to meet and make friends with people in your classes, because I know there's so many people in classes as it is. And one thing that's beneficial when it comes to connecting with peers is to have a class buddy or a study buddy that you can connect with that you know is going to hold you accountable to studying, making sure that you prepare for your exam and things like that. They also have an alumni association through NSU, where alumni are more than happy to help you, especially connect you with different opportunities to improve some of the skills that you want to have pertaining to your major or things like that. So it's always a good idea to connect with those people, especially alumni associations, and they also host events as well that's enlisted on the website. And then some other important tips as well when it comes to connecting with peers. There's a lot of volunteering opportunities through organizations, social events. NSU has their WOW Week and other additional events that are constantly going on campus, as well as just meeting people, just if you're walking to the library or if you're walking to the UC. And I think just one golden standard is just being comfortable with not being comfortable in those situations, because you may never know how you can build that connection with someone like immediately. Am I missing anything else, Meg? What are some other things that you feel like is helpful in connecting with peers?
Honestly, just like being friendly. Like if you're in the elevator with somebody, like, like say like, oh, I like your shirt, like, just being like nice and friendly, and eventually people will start like recognizing your face. There's like no reason to obviously stand in the elevator and be like completely silent. We really like want to build a community here at NSU, and like we're a part of that community. So just be nice to everybody. And like, when you see people, like you can say hi. It's not weird. It's not as weird as you think it is. Like it's normal. I know like people are very hesitant of it, but like just like be social. You can just say hi or like give someone a compliment, and like you don't know, like that person like really could make their day, and it could build a bond.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because you may never know if you might run into that person again, right? Especially since we have so many different things that kind of go on, you may have to go to class and you run into that person again. So it's always important to be sociable, be nice to everyone. So what are the benefits, right? When it comes to connecting with peers, there's so many different benefits, and this is not even a long list. There's so many to describe. So peers can help you learn additional resources on campus, whether you're connecting with them through organizations or just talking to a new person that you may have never talked to before. But you can also build relationships with them as well. They can help you identify ways to study for specific classes. And not only that, but they can help you stay more motivated, especially holding you more accountable when it comes to preparing for that exam, increasing that sense of belonging, but also help you enhance your professional and personal growth. And when it comes to just connecting with peers, I know one of the challenges for me, especially when I was in undergrad and in graduate school, was this idea of rebuilding, reconnecting with other people. And I know that was something that was intimidating for me, especially if I don't know anyone and things like that. So I don't know if there was like any challenges that you faced too, Maggie, when you first started off at NSU.
For me, like I come from a really small town, and I like love my friends from home and everything like that. But like you learn fast that yes, your friends from home, like they'll always be your friends if you guys make the effort to like stay connected, but they're not here with you. And it's not like mentally good if you don't have people here to turn to too. So that's just like another benefit of it. Like, you want to be able to have people here that you can turn to, like you can work with, people you can run errands with. Like there's so many perks to having relationships with like peers on campus that you don't want to let like your hometown and like your hometown friends like stop you from building new relationships, because they'll always be there. They're not replaceable, but you can still make new friends and not replace them.
Yeah, definitely. And I totally agree with that too, because I know there's times, especially when you're first starting off, where you feel like you're like this little fish in this huge ocean, essentially. So it's always good to kind of like put yourself out there, get yourself out of your own little comfort bubble, but also realizing that this is a new experience and it's okay to just reach out for people for help, talking to new people and things like that. Because like you said, Maggie, you still have your friends that are there at your hometown or where you're from. And I have a video that's also helpful because I know sometimes when it comes to making friends and also maintaining friendships, there's this idea of vulnerability, right? So it's not a bad thing to be vulnerable, especially with people that you really want to connect with and maintain that relationship with. So I highly encourage all of you, whenever you get a chance, to just look at this video. It's good. It's a really good and short video. And it gives you a really good overview about the importance of friendship and vulnerability. So when it comes to connecting with professors and faculty members, I know a lot of students have difficulties, especially because we can sometimes have classes that are really big, and it's really difficult, especially to connect with a professor if there's already a bunch of other students in your class, and it's really difficult to kind of get your questions answered and things like that. So some tips and tricks in order to help you connect with your faculty members is researching them before the class. And the reason why is it's important to research your professor is to really identify, well, how is my professor going to help me with my academic and career goals? And also really having conversation with your professor once you start building a relationship with them is helpful, especially when you're in a process of, for example, applying for graduate school or some type of job, and they're able to write a letter of recommendation for you. So it's important to create meaningful conversations with your professors. But also, if you're having difficulties in class where you don't really understand the material or you need more help in understanding how to prepare for exam, do not hesitate to reach out to them. Professors and faculty members have office hours for a reason, so I highly encourage you all to attend them. But it's also important that you attend those office hours with specific questions. Am I missing anything, Maggie?
Just to like go off the reaching out to your professors, like they're very understanding. Like if you're going through something, like it's okay to like tell them and ask for like an extension. A lot of them will give it to you. I know in my most recent class that I was just actually at, we've had a lot of people getting in car accidents in my class, and my professor has been like really understanding about it. And your professors do care about you, and my professor hearing that, like now whenever we leave the class, she's like, everyone please drive safe. Like um they're good relationships to build, and just participating in class and like being active, and say thank you at the end, and like have a good weekend or have a good rest of your day, see you on the following day. Like they really appreciate that. um those little acts of kindness, like it makes them remember you.
No, and that's definitely true. Like it makes them remember you, makes you stand out as well when you actually participate in class, and also maintaining good grades as well, which is really important. Because when you do that, faculty members are more than likely to help you, and all the faculty members, they will be able to identify, well, what is your career goals and things like that if you continue that relationship with them, which is important. And they can help you identify ways to kind of tailor some of the things that you may be doing for potential research opportunities, job opportunities, and things like that. So like Maggie was saying, don't be afraid to talk to your professors and let them know who you are as a person, because it's always important to have that connection or have that good relationship with your professors, especially moving forward throughout your undergraduate career. So what are the benefits, right? So like we were saying, faculty members can help you with research opportunities. They can definitely help you, especially with classes and things like that, to help you feel more prepared and confident with whatever specific class that you are taking at that point in time. But also they can provide you with letters and recommendations once they start getting to learn more about you and who you are as a person when you maintain that relationship with them. What are some other benefits that you've noticed, Maggie, when you connected with your faculty or professors?
So for an example, last week I was like taking a quiz, and it like booted me out because it was on Canvas, and I got a really low grade on it because I got kicked out of the quiz. And I had emailed my professor about it, and I was like, can we please talk after class? Like I got a really low score in the quiz because I got kicked out. And when you build that connection with your professor and they can like see your work ethic and like know who you are as a student, like she was very willing to like work with me and figure out how like I could take the test, the quiz again, because she was like, I like know like this is not like a common grade for you. Like obviously like it's easier to convince them and like tell them what happened when they know who you are as a person, because they don't like, they're like, oh well, like she doesn't really participate in class, she doesn't get her homework in on time, like stuff like that. But really like building that connection with them, they know who you are as a person and who you are as academically, which can help you if you ever have like an issue like I did.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true, because once you start like showing your face more and also like letting your professor know who you are as a person, they're really more than willing to provide accommodations for you, especially helping you out with other things too. Because I know one thing that I had as well with one of my professors, because I am in the clinical psychology program, so I see clients as well as take classes. So I know I have some type of schedule conflict because I'm also involved in research. And when I told my professor that my schedule changed and things like that, she was more than willing to help me out and also try to find a time that worked best for the both of us. So it's really important to continue to have that good relationship with your professor, because they will help you out as much as they can, but also ensure that you're able to reach your academic and professional goals. Now, how to connect with advisors and staff members as well as supervisors. So the number one thing is don't be afraid to ask for help. And that's also very similar to professors and faculty members too, because staff members are more than happy to help you, also connect you with people that are going to be willing to help you as well. And it's also imperative that you maintain these relationships with your supervisor and advisors as you go throughout your undergraduate career. But not only that, they will provide you with resources. So it's important to utilize all these different resources that are on campus, because there's so many of them. So when you utilize the resources, make sure to provide them with feedback too and let them know how helpful it was for you, and continue to give them the idea that the things that you're doing, you're actually doing it, is helping and it's working for you. But not only that, don't be afraid to stop by and continuously have a conversation with them. I know Maggie mentioned this before, where you're able to just talk to your professor, let them know what's going on and things like that. It's kind of similar with your advisor, right? Your supervisor, where you're able to let them know how you're doing. Getting to let them know who you are as a person is also very important. What are some other benefits that you notice too, Maggie, when it comes to like connecting with like advisors or supervisor and things like that?
So for me, obviously, like I work at the TTC and there's a bunch of supervisors up in that building. And I've noticed that like it doesn't always have to be about like business. Like you have conversations with them, like they get to really like know you as a person. Like, everyone can tell when I'm having like a tough day and they'll come by with like chocolate or anything. And it's like nice because obviously they're normally older than you, like they have really good advice to give you. And especially like being away from home and stuff like that, it's kind of like having parents all built in, like they're always there for you. Like they're people that you can turn to and like, like what you're saying is safe with them. But also just like by it, I know like as freshmen, like it's hard. Like for me, it was a little easier because like I am part of a program. So I kind of like already had like a supervisor that obviously like always had our backs and everything. But like there's so many opportunities to like get like and be a part of stuff from by the school, and that provides you with amazing supervisors. Like for me, I have so many at this point and I have a connection with all of them that like without them, like I just probably wouldn't make it through college, because they're there for me like no matter what, like from school to like problems with like my boyfriend, like they're just people you can always turn to.
Yeah, most definitely. Like when it comes, especially when you have like a really good relationship with your advisors, they're there to help you, like even on a good day or even on a bad day. So it's always important to just kind of let them know like how you're doing and things like that. And one perk, especially, they're not there to also help you academically, but they can be there when it comes to all those life stresses that are going on. So that's one of the big benefits when it comes to like connecting with your advisors, supervisors, and staff members that you may work with too. So as we mentioned, a lot of different benefits. They can help you identify leadership opportunities on campus. When you have that really good connection with your advisors, staff members, et cetera, you can find more information about all these different resources that are available to you on campus, but also they can help you identify potential job opportunities and connect you with peers as well, that may have the same interests as you, or maybe in the same major or field of interest as well. And just to show you all these different resources that we have so many on NSU campus, and it's important to use them, because one thing that I've always thought was helpful, especially if like my professor recommended me to use a resource, I would always use it and then go back and let them know how helpful it was for me. So that always maintained that really good relationship with my professors. And I've done the same thing with advisors who recommended me to, for example, use the NSU Writing Communication Center in order to write like my cover letter or things like that. So when you constantly use some of these resources and you're just giving feedback to either your professor, staff members, and things like that, it's also maintaining that relationship, but it's also beneficial to you for your own academic and personal growth. Are there any other additional thoughts on that, Maggie? I feel like I'm missing something with that.
I'm trying to like think what it is. I know it, but I like don't like on the
Okay.
top of my head right now.
That's okay. All right. So we talked about a lot of tips and tricks when it comes to networking, connecting with your classmates, peers, professors, and even staff members, but there's also challenges, right? So we have a couple little things that I've heard like my friends say, also some students say as well. So for example, one that has been very common is that this is my first time moving away and I am homesick. So when we think about this, one solution is finding a home away from home. I know Maggie mentioned that before, but what are some other additional solutions that you would say to a friend or someone that may be really struggling with this?
So I'm a sophomore and I still get homesick because I just love like my parents and everything. And something that I've found definitely like beneficial is like, you can get like those plug-in like incense or like have like an essential oil like diffuser and like put something in that like smells like home, that like gives you that comforting feeling when you're going to sleep, because that's what I do, because I'm like, it smells like my mom when I come home. And like stuff like that, just like the little things can help. Obviously you don't want to like just seclude yourself to your home, but like have some pictures of you and your friends around, like make your room feel like home as much as your room at home would feel like home, because at the end of the day, like at the end of the night, like that's your home base for the next couple months, and like you want to be comfortable in it. You don't want to just feel like, oh, I'm living in a dorm. Like, no, this is your home. Like make it homey.
That's a really good one. I didn't think about that now because especially when you make your like your dorm or your apartment like your own little home, like what I also do that's helpful, especially because I know I get homesick as well. Even now, like in graduate school, I tend to schedule like a time I'm gonna like call my parents and just check in on people at home and just tell them like how everything's going. And then I kind of keep that schedule like each and every week. So that's also a really good idea, Meg. I didn't think about that. Another one too, some additional challenges, for example, is like my faculty member doesn't notice me in class, or there are a lot of students. So I know we talked about this a lot. So just attending those office hours, especially if you have specific questions on a class material, if you want to ask like any question regarding any career goals and things like that. But also one tip that I've noticed is sitting in front of classroom if you're able to attend your classroom in person, and don't be afraid to ask questions, especially during class session. Are there any other solutions that you feel like would be helpful if your faculty member doesn't notice you in class and there's a lot of students?
I would say like even just the first like week when you start the course, like at the end of class, like go up and introduce yourself to the professor, like say obviously like you should be reading the syllabus like before the first class and like say something like you're really like looking forward to that's in the syllabus and just it helps with that like face to name recognition and then you'll stick out to them because not many people like go up and introduce themselves or like even send an email like when the syllabus comes out, be like, I'm really looking forward to your class. I have a few questions. Can I come to your office hours? Can I just hang out a couple minutes at the end of class? Stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good one too. And I think for the sake of time, the last one, I work part-time. I have a hectic schedule and I don't have free time to connect with others. What would be a good solution?
Yes. Well, be an academic success coach and we can help plan out your schedule to get some time in there so that you know you can have free time and connect with others. There's always time, you just have to make it.
Absolutely. Time management is key. And like Maggie is saying, please don't hesitate to make an appointment with us. As academic success coaches, like we're more than happy to help you and we'll ensure that we'll find some time within your busy schedule to connect with others. All right, so we have some resources and a whole overview when it comes to just creating your own Shark family. So there are a lot of different networking events. There's so many that happen, especially in the UC building where there's tabling with different organizations. There's also the career fair that has different graduate programs, different job opportunities and things like that. So it's really important to kind of attend those, especially if you want help with networking and just connecting and finding more information. To help your academic and career goals. But also there's a calendar online that has a list of different social events that happens either weekly or monthly. But also it's important to use those additional resources as we've been saying, like for example, the Center for Academic and Professional Success, and utilizing some of your family members and friends that can kind of help you feel more comfortable just like talking to other people, especially on campus, and just getting more insight and feedback from them. What are some additional tips that you would think will be helpful, Maggie, when it comes to networking?
Wasn't unmuting. Talking to older classmates, older like people that have kind of gone through what you're going through, you know, they have a lot of great advice and can kind of steer you in the right path.
Absolutely. And like eventually, if you needed them to be like a mentor or things like that, you will have that opportunity because it's always nice to have a mentor to kind of navigate you through this hectic schedule and the hectic times of undergrad, especially during midterm week and final week. And then once you get closer to your senior year. And I know Maggie alluded to it in the last slide, but also meeting with the academic success coach too is very helpful, especially if you need help with networking, finding out time in your schedule to attend like an organization event or things like that, but also creating a healthy school life balance too. So as an overview, it's important to allow your professors, faculty members, and staff to get to know you as well. And also it's important for you to get to know your professors and staff members as well, especially if you want to apply, for example, graduate school, apply for a specific job. And once they get to know you as a person, it's easier for them to write that letter of recommendation for you. Also provide you with additional insight into some other types of opportunities as well. But number one rule is also very important to get involved on campus, attend those social events, and just get yourself out there, like Maggie was saying before, and have a friendly face as well while you're doing that. But it's okay to talk to other people in your class, especially if you're looking for a study buddy or someone to hold you accountable when it comes to studying for exams and things like that. And don't be afraid to talk to, even if you have like roommates or you live on campus, to talk to some people that may help you study for exams, things like that, and also find organizations that are going to be helpful for you. And finally, connecting with resources on campus, as we keep on saying throughout this whole entire presentation, is very important. What are some other things that you feel like would be helpful to Maggie? for those that attended the presentation today?
So like for students that don't live on campus, I know like it's harder for them to kind of like connect with people. There is like a lounge in the TC for like off campus students. That's like a great place to go because there's always people in there. You can connect with people, like you get familiar with the people in there. That's a great way to do it. And just like even becoming a part of clubs. We do a lot of tabling events. I'm in a sorority and a lot of tabling events. That's like a great place to, stop at a table, see what it's about, like see if it'd be something interested in you joining. They're always every Friday, there's always a tabling event right around this time. There's also always free goodies.
There you go. Yeah, no, that's a really good one to bring up too, especially if there are those tabling events that do occur each and every week. Definitely see who's tabling, just get to know the organization, things like that. And that's also a really great way of just building your own Shark family, connecting with other people, as well as just finding things that are going to be helpful for you. So with academic success coaching, we're here for you, as we mentioned. So if you need help increasing your networking skills, increasing your motivation and growth mindset, as well as connecting you to additional resources, we are here. And we alluded to this earlier, but we do meet one-on-one with students, and we tailor the sessions based off of your own needs to make sure that you're meeting your goals, whether it's professionally, academically, or personally. So in order to make an appointment with us, as we mentioned before, you want to go on Navigate via Sharklink and click on Schedule an Appointment. And when you get to the next page, there's 3 different drop-down boxes. So the first one, you want to click Tutoring and Testing Center, and then you want to click Academic Success Coaching for the last 2 drop-down series. Then you want to choose the Tutoring and Testing Center. We're located in the Student Affairs building on the 2nd floor. So that's next to Rosenthal, as well as next to Mammon Steeple. And you want to schedule and find an available appointment that works with your schedule as well. And as you're going through this, you're going to read the description and confirm it. And you have the ability to get reminders either via text message or email. And then once you do that, your appointment has been scheduled. So as we're winding down towards the end of the presentation, thank you guys so much for coming. We have another one coming up on November 10th. That's called Get Ready for Game Day, where we're learning about, talking about test taking strategies, helping find a motivation to study, as well as the importance of self-testing. Our contact information is here. As we mentioned before, the location is going to be in the Student Affairs building on the 2nd floor. And our website is listed right here. We're also active on social media. So we have an Instagram. So if you want to find out more of our events, meet the student staff, and keep up to date, our information is NSU_TTC. And we have another Instagram called NSU_SI. But we also have available study resources on Pinterest and YouTube. So are there any final thoughts before we go into questions on Maggie? Because I know I've been talking a lot.
Just one thing I'll say, when making an appointment with us, please, please, please leave a comment on what you want to come for, because it really helps us like prep for your appointment and like have everything that will be useful to you. And it saves time, and then we're in the headspace of what exactly we can help you with.
Right. No, that's a good one too, Maggie. Thank you. So do anyone have any questions? I'm going to stop sharing the screen.